Hi everyone, my name's Ken. I'm an employability specialist with the University of Queensland. I have my colleague with me, Debbie Hathaway, as well. Welcome today to Employability Tips for International Students. I guess before I get started, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where the University of Queensland, that's where we are, now stands, and recognise that these have always been places of teaching and learning. We do wish to pay our respects to elders past and present and emerging, and we acknowledge the important role that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders continue to play within the community. Okay. Before we get started, I guess we always love to introduce ourselves. And one of the things you always want to understand about people giving you careers and employability advice and what you should be doing is what you'll find is every man and his dog will tell you to do something different. So it's really important for you guys to understand who's giving me advice. That way you can work out, well, do you want to follow it or not? So my background is this. My name's Ken, obviously. I'm alumni from the University of Queensland. I studied commerce law and I started life in PwC Brisbane. So I'm an ex-corporate tax guy, 7 years, 5 years in corporate tax, 2 years in human resources for PwC Brisbane. I'm an ex-accounting and finance recruiter as well, 5.5 years in Brisbane, placing accountants, analysts into large companies. And I've been a member of my careers team for about 6 years now, which kind of would make me the old man of the team, but basically we've got a pretty experienced team at the moment. A lot of people say to me, hey Ken, why 6 years? Oh, that's forever. Why are you still doing careers? And I'm the guy who's super passionate about all of my students getting two things: results and choice. So hopefully today we'll be quite focused on that sort of theme where you get some practical tips as well. Just a couple of things about today's webinar. Probably go for about 60 minutes, hopefully. We've got Q&A at the end. We'll answer all of your questions at the end, we promise. And obviously, we're going to use chat for interacting with us, answering questions, that sort of thing. Now, I'll hand over to my colleague, Debbie, to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Debbie Hathaway. I'm also an employability specialist working within the Faculty of Business, Economics and Law in the University of Queensland. So I have been performing in this role now for almost 6 years, not quite as long as Ken, however, still a large proportion of time. So my background, I am a certified careers advisor and also a counsellor, and a lot of what I do is career counselling. I was also once upon a time an international student myself, so I am aware of what some of those challenges can be when trying to secure opportunities within Australia. So I studied back in 2000 and yeah, so if there's anybody who's got any particular questions in relation to that, I'm happy to answer those questions. I have extensive experience in hiring strategies, being someone who has worked within industry. And when I say industry, I'm talking within the corporate, commercial sector and also in government. I've worked across multidisciplines as a hiring manager. So I'm very aware of hiring strategies and what hiring managers' expectations are when people are seeking work experience or work opportunities. And having that experience myself as a hiring manager, I feel puts me in good stead to be able to provide really good and valuable advice and assistance when it comes to seeking out job opportunities. That's me.
All right. So today, what's today all about? And I guess we're going to start with saying, obviously there's stuff going on in the world across our nation. Very easy to be super negative, but today we're going to try and be practical and positive. So, firstly, I want to say, you guys, you're not alone, okay? Every man and his dog is adapting. People have more time for a lot of the career stuff, which is a good thing. And today we're going to focus on action. what we actually can do. And one of the things you'll find in all of this is that there's no silver bullets, okay? I honestly wish I could sell a magical solution to all of my students to go, here you go, this is going to fix all of your problems. But unfortunately, a lot of hard work is sometimes involved. I quite often think of employability and careers and obviously getting what you want. It's a bit like the gym. You know, every year I go to the gym and I go, dude, what do I need to do to get my six-pack abs? And it's always the same. Hey, Ken, eat less, work out more, and you'll get the results. But it's obviously what we do which drives what the results that we see at the end of it. So whipping through quickly, we're going to be talking about starting early, what we can do now, your global experience. We're going to be talking about adopting a risk management application strategy, where to find the jobs, optimizing your resume, and we're going to talk a little bit about career research, networking, and LinkedIn. There's a ton of content today. So the little icon with the camera just means once in a while, take a screenshot, okay? We're not gonna walk through each and everything. So it's a bit redundant for us to actually read you things on a slide. That's super boring as well. So I'm gonna just say, take a screenshot here and there, and we're gonna go from there. One of the things just to maximize your engagement with this webinar as well is on your Zoom panel, in your top right, you have an option where you can switch to speaker mode. So you can actually see the person who's talking in a much bigger screen. And sometimes that's a little bit more engaging than seeing this tiny, like 1-inch little picture of whoever's talking. Up to you, but I find that a more interesting way to enjoy the webinar. Let's keep going. So I'm going to start with what's one of my key tips. And I'm probably going to say to you, start as early as possible. When you're thinking about your careers and employability and what you can do, don't leave it till when you graduate. And I know there's probably quite a few people here who are in their final year. And I want to say to you, definitely there's hope, there's stuff that you can be doing, but best practice would be definitely start as soon as possible. Why? Now, I've got two graphs here. So, and apologies for my terrible handwritten graphs. It makes me feel like I'm in the classroom using a whiteboard. I always enjoy that sort of stuff. So bear with me. I know it's not as professional as my colleague Debbie would do, but you know, it makes it feel like we're in the classroom. Okay. So what I would say is the diagram on the right, okay, just with the one bar. What I'm trying to say there is I have so many students and they go, hey, Ken, I've got nothing. And this is my dream. This is my ultimate. This is exactly what I want. And to be honest, I try. I jump and I jump and I try and I try and I fail. And now I'm sad and I'm not getting what I want. And what I'm trying to say there is definitely try. Go for your dreams. You know, really go for it. But at the same time, also think that sometimes you need to build up to it. Okay. Sometimes you need to have different types of experiences which let you basically be more qualified and also compete for later jobs, okay? So sometimes you might not be able to get what you want in one jump. I'm trying to say sometimes you might have to think about, well, what's here, here, and here for you to get what you want, okay? Because obviously when you start out, you might be able to accessing entry-level stuff helps you also access and compete for higher level stuff later on. But all of this stuff takes time, okay? So earlier level experiences help you compete for later level experiences, but all of it takes time, okay? And you got to remember every time when there's a job at the X, the pinnacle, the thing which every single person wants, you got to understand you're competing with people at all different levels. So it's not just people down here, but you've got people here, here as well, all competing for the same role. So, you know, sometimes if you were here just before on that second highest rank, you'd feel, hey, it's not fair, is it? If someone at ground level got the job, okay? Definitely happens, and that's why you should still try, but you want to make sure that you're looking after yourself and building those experiences as time goes on. Couple of things which you can do right now, and to be honest, Kimberly had an awesome presentation just before this, which ran through a lot of these things. You know, some of the stuff I would say in particular for our international students is this: check out the virtual internships. Okay, love these things. You know, to be honest, a lot of these things are big companies basically making all of their work experience programs virtually accessible to everyone. You don't have to apply. Quite a lot of them are free. Websites like Inside Sherpa as well, fantastic, you know. So now where in the past, a lot of my international students were going, hey, these big companies have rules and restrictions where I can't get work experience with them. Now they have these virtual internship programs where if I want to go into a big four firm or I want to go into a top bank, I can do that. I don't even have to apply. I can just do the internship and they pretty much say, yes, I can pop that on my resume. So that's a fantastic thing. Also clubs and competitions. You know, this will obviously differ around Australia, but I know at UQ, we have a lot of industry-based clubs, okay? And I always ask my clubs, I sit there and I go, so we have clubs for accounting, human resources, finances, all the different types of disciplines. And I always ask them, hey, can an international student join your club? Yes. Can an international student be on the executive of your club? Yes. Can an international student be the president of your club? Yes. Okay. So these are amazing opportunities for you to build your extracurricular experience while on campus and demonstrate leadership and teamwork and getting involved. So I would definitely encourage you, get involved in your industry-based clubs on campus as well. Similar for competitions, all open to international students. A lot of large companies have competitions in their respective fields. I encourage you to get involved in that, okay? Because if you win or you become a finalist, that's a fantastic thing on your resume, as well as attracting attention as well. One of the things I highly recommend for everyone, especially if you want to go into a very large corporate, is practice online testing, okay? That's something you can definitely do. There's free practice all around if you have a look on the internet. Why do I say this? Because at the moment, a lot of these large firms are using online testing, so psychometric as well as skill-based testing, and it's going to eliminate about 75% of the applicants, okay? So why do you practice? Well, it's exactly the same as why do you do a practice exam before you go to your real exams? Practice makes you faster, which is a big thing because it's usually time which slows you down, and it makes you more accurate as well. So definitely do that. Look, lots of other things there, volunteering, entrepreneurship's a great thing at the moment. If you've always wanted to start that side gig and you're there going, well, now's not a bad time for me to get my business plan and all of that set up, that's a probably good thing. And there's plenty of different platforms there as well. And obviously, just like Kimberly said the session before, now's a beautiful time to build your skills, okay? Plenty of platforms for you to learn new things and just have a think about, well, I've got this, what would be relevant to my skill set, okay? So if you're a finance student, now's the time to learn a bit of coding, get some really strong Excel skills going on, at least learn how to do basic macros. If you're a marketing student, well, why don't we learn some film and Photoshop skills? All of these things which will help you differentiate yourself from your competition and be more impressive on your resume. And obviously, pretty much every single university has a mentoring program. So join that, okay? It's a great way to meet new people and learn from the industry as well. Debbie.
Okay, so using your global experience to assist you in, you know, succeeding where you want to be, what you want to do is really something that you really want to hone in on. So don't think that because you're working in or you're wanting to work in a different country that that's necessarily going to go against you. It's all about knowing what your value proposition is. So for example, you know, for somebody who is actually working or looking to work in a different country and away from home and where they know, where they feel most comfortable, that shows a lot of flexibility and adaptability. And also you're integrating into different cultural environments and also showing a lot of independence. So those are some really key strengths that you will be able to demonstrate when you are looking at moving to a different place to actually work. increasing experience and cultural understanding can be easily attained if you are proactive and participating in volunteering or work experience or any projects will really help you gain some valuable insight into that working environment. And that's really, really important, not only for yourself in terms of your development, but also it shows future employers that you've actually shown some dedication into increasing those skills and that understanding. And also that you're able to quite comfortably integrate into different cultural environments. And again, that shows a lot of independence. Languages, I know I deal with a lot of international students who don't want to participate in activities because they don't feel confident about their verbal communication. Now, I understand that they're lacking in confidence there. However, once you start to participate in activities where you are able to speak in that language, so for example, in Australia being most commonly English, once you start participating in activities where you are doing volunteering or work experience or being part of a club or being, doing some projects, you're going to become a lot stronger in your verbal communication. And you probably don't realize how good your verbal communication is anyway without trying. So it could be a self-assessment where you feel, I can't do this because I'm not confident, my communication isn't at the standard it should be. We'll let other people be the judge of that. So the only way they're going to be able to do that is to be able to listen to you, and that can be done, as I say, in some of those activities. Now, before you look at employment within, let's say, Australia, for example, if you're wanting employment in Australia, you need to make sure that you understand what the work rights and legislation is around those employment laws, because it would be a little bit like a horse bolting before the gate was open if you just assumed, okay, I can apply for these opportunities if you don't actually have the correct work visa to be able to do that. And that can be quite frustrating for hiring managers. So make sure that you fully understand the work rights and employment legislation around working visas in Australia. And find out who can assist you with this. I mean, Immigration Office can assist you. It can be quite tricky getting hold of people to talk to. However, they do have an online site that you can use. However, there's lots of other people who might be able to assist you with this. So make sure you do some research into that so you know exactly who you can contact and find out exactly what those work rights are. Next slide, please, Ken. Okay, something else that is also really important for you to know, that approximately 80% of job vacancies do not actually get advertised. So a lot of this information can be gained as a result of, maybe your networks or people that you know, whether they be family members, friends, or associates that you have met along the way. So it's really important to make sure that you always leave a good, positive, and lasting impression with anybody you meet. So just for an example, my first job out of education, I was actually on a bus ride home from meeting with friends, and I met somebody on the bus who was actually the person who was able to give me my first job out of school. So I'm really glad that I made a really good impression with that person. And as I say, it resulted in a job for me. So try and get involved with as many activities as you can, particularly being in a foreign country where you don't have that many friends or family who, you can turn to. But just try and network with as many people as possible and trying to get those contacts and start to build up your, association with people. And LinkedIn is another great forum. Now, LinkedIn is a well-known professional forum that we use here in Australia. You may have your own online professional forums that you're aware of, that you could make sure you set a profile up for. But it's all about connecting with people and, meeting with people in those forums, and also in person where possible. At the moment, it's a little bit tricky because of the COVID-19 situation with trying to actually catch up with people in person. However, whatever you can do to actually just reach out to people, connect with people, do whatever is possible. Gaining work experience by internships, unpaid work experience, any experience you can gain with, in volunteering, you'll also start to build up your networks there. And not only that, these people will actually get to work with you and see what you have to offer. So any opportunity that you get, whether it be to be involved in projects, work experience or internships, volunteering, do everything you can to get that experience, because it's going to be absolutely invaluable to you for lots of different reasons. You can also contact organisations on the online job boards. You can get an idea of the type of roles that they recruit, and it might be that there's a particular opportunity that one of these organisations is recruiting, which is a career choice that you're interested in. So you might be able to find out who is working within those organisations. You can do some research on those organisations and see if you can connect with people within those organisations on LinkedIn and see if they have opportunities for you to do an internship or unpaid work experience.
All right, thanks, Debbie. Now, I'm gonna preface this this whole slide with a bit of a conversation. Okay, when I talk through this applying a risk management application strategy, please understand I'm not saying apply for anything or tell employers you're fine to do anything. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say here is broaden the scope of relevant opportunities that you apply for. Okay, and you still need to do good, tailored, quality applications to each one of these things. Okay, so I guess a warning alert is that hard work is involved with this strategy. I'm not saying get one nice resume, one nice cover letter, blast it out to a couple hundred employers. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying broaden the scope of the people that you apply for and do quality applications. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So the real thing I want to talk about here is for you guys to understand competition. Okay. One thing I really find with a lot of my students is people have a very black and white view of competition, i.e., hey, I'm good, I'll get a job. I'm bad, I won't get a job. Okay. And you got to understand competition is not like that. Competition basically looks like this. It's like me taking about 20 students to an oval and saying, you see the goalpost at the other oval? In about 2 minutes, I'm going to get you to run, okay? And the first person to touch a goalpost gets a job. So please understand, in that environment, number 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not slow, but they don't get the job either, okay? And that's what competition looks like at the moment. Honestly, in the current environment, before all of this happened, the Australian government was telling us that for every single professional opportunity, at least 15 people applied. So that, and on average, only about 3 got interviewed. So what did that mean? It meant that at least on paper, you needed to outperform 12 other people before you even got a chance to have a verbal conversation with people, all right? So that's what the competition looks like at the moment. And the thing about it is, the biggest mistake that I see from my students is they don't apply for enough stuff, okay? Please understand my heart here, okay? I'm an ex-tax guy. what does that actually mean? It means I don't like risk, okay? For things like, do I have a job by the end of my degree? I don't like to leave that to chance, okay? I make sure I manage my risk. And the funny thing is, I talk to a whole bunch of my students. We see a lot of our students after they graduate and they come to me and they go, hey, Ken, I don't have a job. I'm very stressed. I'm upset. And, you know, obviously we help them, okay? We do. We do to the best of our abilities. But the conversation always comes around to how many jobs did you apply for, okay? And on average, a lot of my students tell me 4, okay? And usually it's to the 4 biggest, top, most attractive companies in their field. And I kind of go, dude, that's not good risk management, okay? My picture example, and apologies, I like to tell stories, is that, you know, I need you guys to imagine you're at a casino, okay? And on the table, your bet is all the years and hard work and experience that you've put in to getting your degrees, all the late nights doing your assignments, all the exams, all of the money it costs you to come and study here. And if I look at that bet on the casino table, that's about, I don't know, a couple $100,000 worth. There's probably a small house sitting on that table, okay? And then it's like me coming to you and saying, here's a 6-sided dice. You roll the dice, you get a 6, you get a job. Now, how many people here feel comfortable rolling that dice twice, 3 times, 4 times? Of course not, okay? For me, that makes me feel very nervous and anxious, okay? How about if I said to you, bit of hard work, you can actually roll that dice 20, 30 times, okay? And obviously, that's what I mean by you looking after yourself and making sure that you have enough, you know, using your logic and making sure that you have enough applications to cover the risk of you not having anything. So I'm probably the guy who will tell you at this point in time, let's talk some common terminology here, okay? A, if you factor in the job, the location, all of these different things, you know, all of the stuff that you want, the scale is of what you want. Let's say A is 100% of what you want, B is 75% of what you want, C is 50% of what you want. I'm the guy who's going to tell you in order you want to apply to A, B, and C, okay? Obviously, you're going to put more time to A and B. And please understand, I'm not telling you to give up on your dreams, okay? I'm saying go for your dreams, but have some other stuff there just in case, okay? You're going to allocate the time that you spend based on how much you want it and the probability of you getting it. Because the thing is, you got to understand, an application doesn't mean you have to take the job, okay? So you really have nothing to lose, okay? It's one of those things. So let's say you make a terrible mistake. You apply to something, you go to the interview, and you find out that they're horrible, horrible human beings, okay? You never want to work there. Then what do? You say, hey, thanks so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry I found another opportunity. You don't have to take the job if you make a mistake. But unless you do the applications, you'll never be able to work this out. So what you got to understand is you got to adopt a no regrets procedure with your applications, okay? Because trust me, all right? If you do a lot of work and you get what you want, I promise you, you'll never curse me out. You'll never go, oh, damn it, Ken, you know, you made me do all this hard work and now I've got exactly what I want. You'll never do that, okay? But if you don't do it, at some stage you might go, hey, someone told me I should probably do more applications and I didn't, and now I've got nothing, okay? So try, you know, no one likes regrets. Regrets is a horrible emotion, so don't do that, okay? So some of the things I'm trying to say to you when you think about what your A, B, and C is, you know, think about things like, well, what about location? Can I mess around with the location of the job that I'm looking for? Am I only applying in the CBD? Or maybe can I look at some of the regional areas as well? Also think about the sectors that you're applying for as well. I know in Queensland, our health sector is going really well. And before you start saying, oh, Ken, I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be a nurse, I'm not saying that. I'm saying look at the sector. So you could be an accountant in a hospital, all of that sort of stuff. The sector is doing well. So you think about those sort of opportunities. And lastly, I also want you to think about small to medium enterprises, or our small companies, our medium companies, private enterprises. All of this, 90% of the companies in Australia are basically fit into this category. And what you might find is that there's less gatekeepers, there's less policies. It's actually easier to network and influence decision makers to give you a bit of a go, okay? Now, I'm going to ask you guys to be brave here. I'm going to ask, does anyone want to help me do a quick demonstration, okay, about my next point? It won't be scary. I won't embarrass you, I promise. But I'm just trying to make a point here about the value of also applying to short-term contracts. Anyone want to volunteer? Just tell me in chat.
Sure.
Okay, sorry, who am I talking to?
Pavel.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make here is when you think of C, okay, your C grade categories, especially if you're graduating this year, okay, I want you to also think of short-term contracts. Now, mate, what are you studying?
I'm actually, I've actually graduated.
Okay.
I mentor students on this side, business intelligence and analytics.
Okay, so data analytics, okay? Now,
yes.
I want you to pretend you are the senior manager of a top tier firm data analytics company, okay? And
okay.
I'm a student, and I come to you and I say, mate, I'm good, I'm smart, I've got good grades, I've got good qualifications, look at my internships, I've got the skills you need. Please, won't you please just give me a chance? Now, let me ask you a question. Are you more likely to give me an opportunity for a full-time role or a 2-month contract?
2-month contract.
Why?
I wouldn't risk everything, especially a full-time role, just on your word.
All right, you want to test me out, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So let's say I take your 2-month contract and I'm amazing, okay? I get along with your clients, I get along with your team, I outperform your expectations as my boss. So as my boss, what are you gonna do?
Give you the full-time role.
Great. What did we just learn? 1, it's easier to get a short-term opportunity. 2, if you go in there, you work really hard, it's pretty easy for one thing to lead to another, yeah? Okay, number 3, I'm not telling all of you guys to just go in there and do the work to the best of your ability. Yes, I want you to do that, but the strategy looks like this as well. I'm going to go in, I'm going to work to the best of my ability, and then at nighttime, I'm still going to apply to full-time roles, okay? Why? Because what can happen is I might be doing your 2-month contract, and then at the end of the contract, Company B might offer me a full-time role. I don't know, it's a weird thing in Australia, but sometimes it's easier to get work when you're working, okay? So Company B might offer me a full-time role. And basically what that gives me is choice, okay? I can take Company B's role, or maybe I love working for you. So I can come to you and go, hey mate, firstly, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really love working with the team, the clients, and you're an awesome boss. But I need to be upfront here. I'm only here on a 2-month contract, and Company B has just offered me a full-time role. Would you consider giving me a full-time role? And the thing about it is, thank you. And then the thing about it is this, you can say yes or you can say no, but either way, I'm looked after, okay? So this is what I'm trying to teach you guys about managing your risk, okay? And that's where contracts should come into your game as well, especially if you're looking for work. Thank you very much. I appreciate you volunteering. That's awesome.
Thank you.
The last thing I want to talk to you guys about this is application timing. And one thing I need you guys to understand, and I need you to really listen to this. To be honest, if you don't listen to a single thing I say anymore, that's okay. I just want you to understand this. Sooner is better than later when it comes to applications. Can you type that in chat for me so then I can see that you guys have listened to this? Just give it a go. Sooner is better than later. Just pop it into chat. Not that scary. Beautiful. Loving it. Okay, great. Why? Why is sooner than better than later? Let me talk to you with my recruiter hat on, okay? Firstly, when we advertise roles, we don't wait, okay? A good recruiter, you know, I'm an ex-recruiter, quite a lot of recruitment friends, like my colleague Debbie, obviously. And to be honest, you got to understand what's our job. When we're a recruiter, it's to get the best quality people we can as quickly as possible into the roles and lock it in, okay? So I advertise an opportunity. What you'll find is that you may miss it. Like I've got so many friends where, you know, I always ask them, okay, let's say you have 50 roles and on day one of your campaign, you identify 50 perfect candidates. You cannot get better, best candidates in the world. What do you do? And each one of my recruiter friends says, I fill all my roles and I close my campaign. Why? Why do they do that? Because they're managing their risk, okay? Because the best candidate in the world for me would probably be the best candidate in the world for any of my competing companies as well, okay? And I don't want to lose good candidates. I want to just lock it in and give them a job. So what's the takeaway for you as applicants? It means that if you delay, if you are slow, then you will probably lose out on the job to someone who maybe looks exactly like you on a piece of paper, but got in earlier than you. And you can't complain. Well, they were more organized and they got in first, okay? So if you're going to apply for jobs, apply as early as possible, okay? The second thing is, I want to talk to you guys about campaign recruitment. What does that mean? Recruitment of large numbers of students, okay? And let me tell you here, sooner is better than later applies to that. So let's say I have some sort of truce, okay? I tell you, you have until the 10th of October to apply, okay? But if I'm in a top tier company, if I'm in a really big company, I'm not going to wait, okay? Please understand the recruiters of top tier companies are not lazy people, okay? If you're as a recruiter in a top tier company, it means you're at the top of your game. That means you're a very hardworking, good recruiter as well. So we're not going to just sit there and do nothing until the close date, okay? Because that gives us a disadvantage when we compete against our other recruiters as well, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to review applications as they come in. We're going to sort them, okay? So what happens is this. Say you apply on day 1, day 2, day 3. I go, oh, Jeff, tick, 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 looks good. Yes, Paul, not a problem, okay? But let's say I look at your application the day before close, when historically 80% of all graduate recruitment comes in with this wave of applications. Then I go, Jeff, tick, 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 looks good. But then an additional step comes into my mind, because at that stage, I might have 50 roles, but I've already shortlisted 200 people, okay? I don't need any more people to shortlist, okay? I know with 4-to-1 odds, I will definitely fill every single one of my roles. So then what I do is I go, tick, 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 looks good, but is Jeff better than the people in my yes pile? Because unless you're better than my yes pile, I'll put you in my maybe pile or my no pile, okay? So what do we take away from that? That as time goes on with the same application, the same piece of written application, the standard goes from eligibility, lower standard, to competition, higher standard. So get in early. If you need more proof, you got to think about it this way. If you apply in day 1, day 2, day 3, what does that say about you? Tell me in chat. Tell me. What does it imply if you apply early, day 1, day 2, day 3? Well organized. Beautiful. What else? You keen? Determined? Excited? Great. So what does it actually suggest about you if you apply the day before close? Okay. Pretty much it's the exact opposite. Not really interested, not organized. Is that really the impression you want to give an employer? Okay. So really, if you only take one thing about anything I've said today, sooner is better than later. Top tip. Okay. If you want to get the best results, you always want to think about, if you want to get the best results, forget about the closing date. Your new date for every single one of your applications is opening day, plus 1, 2, 3 days. Okay. That's your sweet window. Okay. I'd definitely go there. All right. Now on to my colleague, Debbie.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, I have been, if you hadn't noticed, I have been answering some of the questions in the chat there. So obviously keep those questions coming. We've got lots of answers for you. So now we're going to go into how you sell. So this is understanding what your value proposition is. So for example, you are going to be required to step forward with an application of some sort. Most commonly used right now are resumes or curriculum vitae, whatever you like to call them, a cover letter, maybe even completing an online application form. But what is most important is that you are making that hiring manager aware of who you are. They don't know you, they've never met you, or in most cases, they've never met you. So the only way they're going to know if you are suitable for their opportunity is if you are providing them with the most relevant information. Now, applications are probably one of the most trickiest documents for most people. And we get a lot of students, and Ken can vouch for this, we get a lot of students who come to us all the time with queries about applications, being overwhelmed or stressed about how they present applications. And I speak for myself here. I do a lot of work with students in helping them put together an application that's going to stand out for the right reason. It is important that people write their own applications and not rely on others to do that, because what will happen when you write an application yourself, your personality comes across in that document. If you get somebody else to write it for you, or even pay someone to write it for you, which I would never recommend, their personality is going to come across, okay? So make it your own work. You are the expert of yourself, so you should put that creation together yourself, okay? It takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do this. So the easy way of ensuring that you are reflecting the skills and capabilities and strengths that you can demonstrate is by making sure that you are self-aware of what those skills and strengths are. So you can do exercises like, you know, having a look at all the different soft skills, for example, and write down all those soft skills that you know that you are really competent in demonstrating. And these are the sort of things that you can reflect on in your application, or even if you're doing a LinkedIn profile, for example. Okay, so being self-aware is extremely important in this whole process. Okay, when you're actually putting together an application for a particular role, you need to make sure it's fit for purpose. So don't use a generic cover letter that could be sent to anybody. Make sure that it's unique to that particular role, that particular organization, and that you are reflecting your skills based on the opportunity that you are applying for. The job description will tell you exactly the skills that that hiring manager is going to be seeking out in your application. So ensure that you are reflecting those skills in your application. Failure to do so will probably result in your application being deleted. So you never want to be deleted. You always want to make sure that you are providing the hiring manager with the information that they are looking for. It needs to be honest. It needs to be truthful. And I can assure you, it will make the hiring manager happy and probably more likely to want to proceed with your application to the next phase.
All right. We're gonna segue a little bit to just talking about, you know, we've been talking about all this time about stuff that you can be doing right now to improve your employability skills. And one of the things I'm going to say to you is definitely it's a good time to do career research, okay? A lot of people, we're working from home, we've got a little bit more time to talk with people, that sort of things. And one of the key things I'm really going to say to you is you want to talk with human beings, okay? who do the role, do coffees or virtual conversations with human beings, okay? You know, because obviously doing career research saves you a whole bunch of time and money, okay? But the thing about it is you need to talk with human beings. Don't do all of your research on the internet. Let me ask you guys a question. Let's say I go on the internet and I publish an article called Things I Hate About My Job. What happens to me? Tell me in chat. Tell me. Anyone, give it a go. Quiet audience. Hey, Debs, what happens to me if I publish things, an article called Things I Hate About My Job? What happens to me? Oh.
Oh, that was me. Sorry, I was just typing something just based on the previous slide that I was putting forward. So just something that I probably should have mentioned. So I apologise for that. So, Ken, so can you ask the question again? Because
Okay. So Debs, the question is, if I go onto the internet and I publish an article called Things I Hate About My Job, what happens to my career?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can see that some of the people participants have actually put in some of their feedback there. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. It shows negativity. You want to have a positive attitude all the time, even if you know deep down inside you don't. So it's learning how to fake it until you make it. So if you do feel negative about a past employer, you know, keep that negativity to yourself. And if you're ever asked the question in an interview, you know, the reason for leaving a position, if it was a negative reason, try and be very diplomatic in your answer.
Okay. So I guess the point I was trying to make here is this, okay? If I go and publish something on the internet about what I really don't like about a job, it's bad for my career. Okay, I could get fired. I could be overlooked for promotions. Maybe no one else wants to hire me in that sort of role. Okay, so what does this mean about the integrity of all of the stuff that you've been reading on the internet when you're doing career research? And the short answer is it's only the good stuff. Okay, people will only publicly talk about the good stuff on the internet. Okay, so what does that mean? To do effective career research, to understand what the job is, the good parts and the bad parts, you need to have coffees with human beings, okay? Because only really in that one-on-one or very small group environment do people generally tell you the truth, okay? And the thing about it is you want to know this, okay? Because if you don't do it, then what will happen is if you spend all the time, all the money studying there, get into your chosen profession, you will have surprises, okay? And surprises in the career space are bad, okay? Because quite often you'll sit down and go, oh goodness, you know, if someone had told me that it would be like this or the environment would be like this, I never would have picked that career, okay? So you want to have genuine coffees with human beings, okay? To hear the truth about what it's like. And, you know, just like Kimberly in the session before said, how do I meet with people? Use your networks, okay? Use your contacts. People do favors for people's brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, cousins, all the time. Not a problem. Very easy to do. But sometimes you don't have a network, especially if you're an international student in the area that you want to do. And you're there going, well, how do I reach out to people? How do I reach out to a stranger on LinkedIn? So, quick question, would it be useful for me to demonstrate how to do that? How to book a coffee with a total random stranger on LinkedIn? Yes? No? Tell me in chat. Great, lots of yes. Okay. Can I have a volunteer, please? I promise I won't make you embarrassed. Just unmute and just one volunteer, please.
Yep, I can volunteer.
Great. Sorry, what's your name?
Francie.
Hey, Francie, how are you doing?
Really good, thank you.
Great. Francie, what are you studying?
I'm studying a Bachelor of Science with a major in biology and spatial science.
Okay. For the purposes of today, just give me a dream job.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. A dream job would be, I guess, as an ecologist or doing something in the spatial science field.
Okay, cool. An ecologist. All right. So, Francie, you are an ecologist. You are working for, let's say, the government. Okay. And you're very, very senior, or not super senior, but you're at that sort of manager level, right?
Yeah.
And I'm studying science, at any of the top universities. And the thing about it, Francie, is this. Me being an extroverted person, I'd probably pick up the phone, okay? But this script also works nicely on LinkedIn and different things like that, written communication as well. But to be honest, I'd probably say pick up the phone because it builds the most engagement, okay? And what I'd do is I would give you a call, and please understand, as soon as you know someone's name and where they work, how hard is it to call reception and ask to talk to that person so you can communicate on the phone with those people? And Francie, what I'd do is I would give you a call and go, "G'day, Francie, how are you going? My name's Ken Lai. I'm so sorry to give you a call out of the blue. I know you don't know me, but I'm a student at the university and I'm studying science. And one of my dream jobs is to become an ecologist, which is exactly what you do. So what I'm hoping to ask you is this. Sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks, can I come to your office, buy you a cup of coffee, have 10 to 15 minutes of your time where you tell me what it's like to be an ecologist?" Okay? That's what I'd say to you. Now, Francie, you've heard my script. Let me ask you a question. Give me a percentage out of 100. How likely are you to say yes to that?
Okay, probably 110.
Okay. Now, Francie, tell me on the flip side of things, how likely are you to do the thing that I fear? Okay. How likely are you to go, "Ken, don't you understand how important I am? How dare you contact me? Get away from me, scum." How likely are you to do that?
No, I don't think that would happen. I think the worst thing that would happen is probably to get no response.
Okay. So can you understand I've just given you a fantastic business proposition, okay? Something with a very high success rate, a very low worst case scenario rate, costs you basically nothing, costs you a cup of coffee, yeah?
Yeah.
And can you see, even in the worst case scenario, so you give me a hard time and, oh my goodness, I'm burning, I'm on flames here. Well, that's okay, because I'm sure in your life, someone's given you a hard time before and we shake it off and we talk to someone else. We probably go, "Oh, look, I probably caught him on a bad day. Let's talk to someone else." Okay?
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you.
No worries. And the thing about it is, in that 15-minute window when I'm having a coffee with you, I would probably ask you 3 questions. Francie, what's the best thing about your role? What's the worst thing about your role, or the most challenging part of your role? And that's your money question, which you can't find from the internet. And the third question I would give is, what advice would you give someone like me trying to become an ecologist? Okay. So, and you would probably give me some tips. Now, me being me, I like to multitask as well. So I'm going to use this career research meeting to also build my network. So what does that mean? During that 15-minute meeting, I'm going to be as charming and professional as possible. I'm trying to be as likable and polite and respectful as possible. I've dressed nicely as if I'm coming to an interview. And what I would say at the end of it is this. I would say, "Hey, Francie, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to teach me all of that. I never would have found that out otherwise. Obviously, I'm looking for internships in ecology, and I'm hoping to ask, if something came up with you or any of your friends, would it be okay if we just stay linked in and maybe you just keep me in mind?"
Yeah.
So do you see how easy it is to say yes to that?
Yeah.
And every one of these meetings, I'm building a network who's thinking about me for internships. And let's say, even if I did this once a month, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how I build a network of people thinking about me for internship opportunities in my specific career area. Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect.
All right. Thanks, Francie. Can I get you to mute again? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Okay, so one of the things we're going to talk about now here is networking, and we're going to get quite honest about it, all right? So a whole bunch of students always come to me and they go, hey, Ken, how do I get what I want? Or what's the easy way? Or how come my mates hear about opportunities and I don't hear about them? And the spoiler alert here is the answer is networking. Now, the thing I'm going to say to you firstly is networking is not substitution. It's not instead of, it's not a replacement. Networking happens on top of all the hard work that you've done doing applications and things like that, okay? Why? Why do I say networking is a good thing, all right? Firstly, it makes you get more likely to get interviews, okay? So you got to understand, like from a recruiter hiring manager's point of view, when you're picking people to interview, it's not an emotional time, okay? It's search behavior. It's very quick and it's very, very transactional, okay? So you're never gonna pick up a resume and go, oh, Jeff, I wanna know his hopes and dreams and who he is as a human being. You're not. You're going through very quickly looking at pretty much two things: who's the best fit for my role and who's the best, okay? But what I want to ask you guys is, if you're sitting there and you're going through all these resumes and then suddenly you recognize a name, okay? It's someone that you've networked with for about 20 minutes. At the time, you were impressed by their communication skills. You liked them. You thought they'd be a good fit for your team. Now tell me, does that influence whether or not you give them an interview? And of course the answer is yes, okay? Why? Because it saves you time, okay? Because you've already ticked off on their people skills, communication skills, team fit. So all you need to do at that interview is check their technical skills, okay? And their experience and suitability for your role. So it's good risk management on your behalf. Plus, a lot of recruitment is just human nature, okay? We go with what's familiar rather than a complete stranger. So if I know someone versus a complete stranger, I generally will pick the person I know every single time, okay? So please understand that. Also, networking helps you to hear about opportunities, okay? So Deb, I'll get you to unmic.
I am, aren't I?
Oh, okay. Well, Deb, the way it works for student networks is this, okay? Debs might be a student working for me, okay? And at some stage, I might call Debs into my office and go, hey, Debbie, I love your work, okay? You're smashing your goals. You're doing a fantastic job. Well done. I think you're amazing, okay? But I need to be honest with you. We've just picked up 10 new clients and I'm going to have a role for another student. And the money question I will ask Debbie is this: do you have a friend, okay? And the thing about it is, Debs will usually stop and she'll go, actually, yes. I know I have a friend called Sally. She studies the exact same thing as me. I think she'd fit in really well with the team and she's a good operator. And I'll go, great. Can you hook up a coffee between me and Sally? And if she's any good, I'll give her a job. So the thing you got to think about here is, who knew about this opportunity? And the short answer is no one. Me, Debbie, Sally. That's it, okay? No one else knew. Never published anywhere, never advertised anywhere. So that's why we call networking the hidden market, okay? Because the more people that you have connections with, like Debbie, and obviously positive connections so that she actually is comfortable to vouch for you at the time, the more chances you get to be Sally. Debbie, you wanted to add something there?
Yeah, I was actually just saying that I didn't want to run out of time because you've got a lot of good, valuable information to share. And we've literally got 5 minutes until they kick us out of this booth. So wrap it up.
Oh, no, we've gone too long. I apologize for that. All right. Well, how long do we have, Debbie? We've got 5 minutes?
We've got 4 minutes now till we're booted out of this booth.
4 minutes. All right. So look, there's LinkedIn tips. Definitely go and talk to your careers advisors about that. Got a bit too long. And we'll take some questions. Or Debbie, have we been answering all the questions as we go?
Yeah, I've been answering some questions. So I appreciate those of you who've actually been participating, and it's great to see that you've got some really good, valuable questions. We are running out of time, and I'm sure there's a forum where you might be able to ask some more questions, and we can get around to answering them in a different format. But If there's anyone now who's got anything pressing, we've got 2 minutes.
I think Francie had a question. If you wanted to unmute your mic.
Yeah, sure. I'm just trying to make it really quick. So, yeah, I've recently applied for a job in the geospatial field, and I've just realized that I probably made a mistake that you've outlined. So I've applied a day before the closing date, and yeah, I haven't heard back from them in about 2 weeks. So I assume that I probably didn't get the position.
Yep.
But I'm thinking about calling them up, and I was wondering if I can do anything to like turn this around, and maybe ask if I could connect with someone or like hear about future opportunities in some kind of way.
Look, I mean, if it was me, I would say yes, give them a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
When I make that call, I would try and be, sorry, I'll stop sharing the screen now, but when I make that call, I'd try and just be as friendly and personable as possible, not really giving anyone a hard time. And I would say, hey, just really want to touch base in relation to the XYZ opportunity. Is there any update on how the recruitment of that's going? And if they sort of go, oh yeah, we have run interviews, unfortunately you weren't selected, I would just touch base and go, oh, no worries, thank you for the opportunity. Just in case, was there any feedback in relation to my application? And they might be able to give you a couple of tips and highlight some of the stuff that you're doing. Debs, do you have anything about that?
Sorry, no, I was just answering one of the questions. At the end of the day, don't always assume that they're not going to contact you. The recruitment process can be quite lengthy at times, but it's always a good idea every time you send an application that you have diarised for you to follow up with them, just in case anything happens on the day, technical issue. Always a good idea to follow up and make sure that they received your application.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, because I was wondering, because I didn't receive any communication at all, so I thought it was a bit unusual. So
it does happen. It does happen. Honestly, they get they get inundated and they just don't get the time. I know it doesn't sound great, but that's just the way that it goes sometimes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can I add something here?
Yes. Sorry, Pavel.
Yeah, I think what has worked for me in the past is that whenever this kind of thing happens, you try to find out people from that company on LinkedIn and drop a very humble message asking about the job opportunity. And most of the time, someone will reply.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will try to do that. I actually know the name of the hiring manager, so perhaps I can do that. Yeah.
And Francie, name of the game here is light touch and friendly. Okay, so to be honest, in any recruitment process, don't give anyone a hard time. Okay, because they could just be delayed. All right, so if you sit there and you give people a hard time, it's very rare that you get what you want.
Yeah, for sure.
No worries. I've got a question here from Galeen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Saying, can I ask a referral directly from the person that I've met with coffee?
I answered it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing. Oh, maybe it's down there. Oh, you can ask. Okay, yeah, definitely you could ask. Play it by ear. See how the coffee's gone, and if you're hitting it off, that sort of thing. By referral, I guess, it also depends what it means, okay? If you're saying, can I ask them to be my referee? Probably not. Your relationship's not there yet. But if you were saying, hey, was there anyone else that I should be talking to? That might be okay. All right. Now, apologies. We've run out of time. We're closing questions. Thanks so much, guys. Hopefully today was helpful.